15 for this evening, fullback David Lyon. A three-quarter line of Quirk, Connolly, Laughlin and Hunt. Half-backs are Rapati and Cooper, with Harrison, Dwyer and Mann in the front row. Beavers, Nicol and Joint in the back three. Griffith and O'Donnell are the subs. The Leigh side at fullback Scott Mann. Three-quarter line of Booth, Ruane, David Ruane that is. Scott Martin and David Hill. Half-back pairing of Donoghue and Pugsley, with Hanson, Andy Ruane and Street in the front row. It's Johnny Elias, Collier and Baldwin the back three, with David Tanner and John Costello are the subs. Captain for tonight, Tim Street there for Leigh, Shane Cooper for the Saints, young Christopher Dillon there, the Saints match day mascot for this evening, and the match day referee Peter Gilmore from Workington. Not one of the usual top flight referees that we have, one of, as they say, the up and coming referees, and let's just see how he shapes. But it's not for me to call the refs as a rule, is it? But anyway, we're nearly ready for kick-off. So it's playing down to the clubhouse, the sponsors' boxes. Hope everybody's all right in the sponsors' boxes, receiving our broadcast. This game should have originally been on Sky on the evening, a recorded match, where you might get better or more camera coverage on Sky, but the commentary's not as good as it. But anyway, we're ready for the off. Tia Rapati. He's ready to get the Saints underway. Looking for a big game tonight to the Saints to avenge the defeat by Leigh at Hilton Park earlier in the season. The old Leigh mudbath, and perhaps Leigh are not used to playing on decent pitches, so let's hope they find it hard for this evening's clash. Leigh in possession, making yardage, moving it left. Tim Street, solid tackling on Street. Nicol, Cooper, and Tia Rapati, and he had a big game, did Tim Street. He led his Leigh team well when Saints went down at Hilton Park by 11 points to 6. Back to Jason Donoghue. A towering kick. Well, Leigh have to give Saints 10 metres. As Donoghue come up, he was the one that kicked it, and he put them all onside there as the Saints nearly caught napping. Chris Joint on the dummy run, and John Harrison comes through well. Street going down rather enthusiastically on John Harrison's back. I'm sure Big John will just have made a mental note of that. But George Mann running out wide. Kevin Ward, the second of a two-match ban, which shall finish after today's match, tonight's match. But Joint gets it going. Beavers there, misses out onto Connolly. Now with Les Quirk. Quirk's taken down, but good ball handling from the Saints there. Connolly takes it crossfield, now with Tia Rapati. Pops it down in the corner. Well taken, David Hill moves in quickly. Bernard Dwyer in at the tackle. Now it's Scott Mann, runs through. And it was that incident with Scott Mann and Alan Hunt at the Leigh club. They thought they should cite Alan Hunt. He got 3-match suspension for that. And I'm sure there'll be no love lost between the teams out there tonight. Saints have to certainly pile the points on Leigh if they can possibly do that. Donoghue, crossfield kick. Alan Hunt takes it comfortably. It's a flamboyant wingman there, Alan Hunt, taken down with some good Leigh cover tackling, and George Mann attacked in half. John Harrison again. Saints running the ball out wide, but some good tackling there. Laughlin feeling the full force, as is the norm. Usually the 10-15 minutes, the opening minutes, just the softening up process, just testing the teams out. Well, George Mann spreads it. Cooper onto John Harrison again. Good ball. Cooper again. Out to Laughlin. Out to Hunt. He takes it cleanly, and he gets up from the floor and drives. penalty, and that was a terrible high tackle. Some man going in there on Alan Hunt. He's been sprung too severely by referee Gilmore. It was a bad tackle. But I don't think the Saints will be citing man over that tackle. But you never know, do you? But it's a chance for the Saints now to get points on the board. Nearly 4 minutes of the game gone, and Scott Mann coming through there on Alan Hunt. Hunt had chipped the ball. We're not saying he would have scored, but the tackle, a high one, took him down, and it could have been really nasty. But Paul Loughlin looking to open the scoring. 4 minutes of the game gone. And Loughlin converts it, the penalty into points. Saints leading 2 points to nil. And Paul Loughlin there, his 7th goal of the season. Leigh forced to kick off, but it was Alan Hunt there, opened the Leigh defence. Chris Joint taking it right on the touchline, bringing it infield. Cooper onto Beavers, as we said last week when Beavers came on against the old pie eaters. Let's see play anywhere Beavers, being employed in the second row this evening. And since we played Wigan in that exciting 41 points to 6 win, the New Year's Day game cancelled, and this game against Leigh, which was originally planned for Sunday, now being played tonight with the weather relenting a little bit. Scott Mann again, brings it crossfield. Beavers and Harrison meet him, and now Leigh moving it over to the right. And Joint and Nicol combining to bring the man down. Tim Street pushes off the first line of defence. He's a strong lad, this Street. Not very tall, but he's certainly powerful. Back to Donahue. Solid tackling again, George Mann. Closing down Stuart Pugsley. The last tackle of the sequence. Donahue again. To David Lyon, and David Lyon pumps it downfield, puts pressure on Mann. He juggles with it, catches it. Saints have to give him 10 metres. Good ankle tap there by Chris Joint. Leigh in possession, and Saints hoping to peg Leigh down in their half of the field. It's a tactic that the Saints unfortunately didn't employ when we were at Hilton Park. Got a gale force wind behind us, and it took us 30 minutes to realise we should be pumping this ball down. But Leigh were the better team on the day, unfortunately, and the Saints went down, as we said before, 11 points to 6 on the old quagmire of Hilton Park. It's a place that we may not be visiting for much longer. They're in financial difficulty, the ground's got to be sold, and I don't know whether they've got a home, and who knows what will happen to them. Not been one of the greatest clubs, Leigh, but they've always been there and about, and very tough opponents on their own midding. But they've been penalised at the scrum. Not packing correctly. Referee Gilmore moving in quickly. Penalising Leigh. So we've had nearly 8 minutes of the game gone. Saints in the lead by 2 points to nil with a 4th minute Paul Loughlin penalty goal. Harrison now bringing the ball up. Bernard Dwyer, Cooper, Alan Hunt coming infield. Just looking for that half gap is Hunt. And he'll be through like a flash. Well, Leigh are moving up in an offside position on the referee's left, but he didn't pick it up. But as they move up and pressurise the Saints, unfortunately Phil Beavers just losing possession. a knock on. Now it's a scrum down with a Leigh feed. And Leigh win the first clean scrum. They break quickly. Mann linking up from the full-back position. But solid tackling there as David Lyon comes in on his counterpart Mann and brings him to earth. Leigh now bringing it left. Solid tackling's got to be the name of the game. Lee Hansen, he runs it hard. And now it's David Ruane attacked in half. Pugsley and Donahue. But it's chipped over, a big gap over there on that far side. But the ball's into touch. Alan Hunt had come in field and there was a big gap there, so good play by Donahue, kicked it cross field. Looking for the speedy wingman there, Booth. But Saints restarts with a tap from the centre of the 20-metre line. Dwyer and George Mann. And these are games that's got to be won by the Saints. Leigh, bottom of the first division. And when we was at Hilton Park, it should have really been a banker for the Saints, expecting the 2 points. Maybe a little bit of complacency had set in, but it was a bad pitch. But it's the same for both sides. Cooper, Rapati, taken by Quirk. Last tackle of this sequence, but Leigh, they're pressing up quickly, putting pressure on Saints as Rapati gets the kick away. And that's the idea of the Leigh coach, Steve Martin, to take the Saints off the game. But Shane Cooper there leading by example, leading his charges, and he's the first man in there on 2 tackles. And Lee Hansen now in possession. Andy Ruane attacked in half, gets the ball to the right, and then it's brought back left. Pugsley from acting half-back. And this lively purring, Pugsley and Donahue, they'll have to be met and bounce to the ground. The last one there of this set of 6 is Donahue, tries to get it away, he does find touch. Just 10 metres inside the Saints half. They'll scrum down with the Saints feed. 11 minutes of the game gone, still 2 points to nil in the Saints' favour. And Cooper to feed it, Saints have possession, Cooper and Rapati, now with David Lyon linking up. But solid tackling there. Well, David Lyon, the tackle wasn't completed. It looked quite solid, but obviously Leigh left off him. And now Leigh are penalised for holding down at the play of the ball. 3 penalties for the Saints, none for Leigh at present, and David Lyon with good yardage. About 28 metres from the Leigh line, and John Harrison, first man in off Bernard Dwyer. Harrison pumping the legs and going forward. And Tim Street there, just roughing him up a little bit. Dwyer on his own, now Sonny Nickel. Good tackling by Leigh, keeping the Saints at bay at present. Dwyer brings it to the right, Chris Joint sees a gap, Joint will be through, yes! Good play from Joint, and he touches down 10 yards to the right of the sticks. Excellent play there from Chris Joint, and nothing more than we can expect, is it? Because this is a hallmark of this lad's play. At short range, he's deadly. He just gives that little shimmy, just creates a gap in the defence, and he drove for it, and his superior strength took him over. Had a Leigh player hanging on his back, but he was strong enough to stretch over the touchdown for the Saints first try, and put Saints in the lead by 6 points to nil, with this Loughlin conversion to come. Paul Loughlin there, he converts that joint try. Saints in the lead by 8 points to nil. Chris Joint's 4th try of the season. And not more timely, and let's hope the Saints can build on this 8-0 lead. The Saints come through successful this evening. They go 2 points clear at the top of the Stones Bitter Championship table, but Wigan still have a game in hand. But the 2 points behind, they've lost 3 now, have the old pie eaters, and Wigan Saints have lost 3. Bernard Dwyer bringing it blindside, George Mann, and George Mann running tirelessly. Mann and Nickel, well, the man's progress is stopped, and Donahue coming in again. Good ball there to Joint. But superb tackling by Leigh. Saints spread it quickly to the right. Sonny Nickel juggles with it, but holds it firmly. And Leigh moving up exceptionally quickly. Well, moving up before the referee, well, the Saints have played it. The referee not paying much attention, he's letting the game go. It's the last tackle of this set. And I suppose if Leigh are moving up in an offside position and they're getting away with it, well, they're going to do it all the more, aren't they? Scott Mann driving it up, right into Sonny Nickel. He bounces him down. And he's hitting a bit of form, is Sonny Nickel, isn't he? Donahue, attacking half-back. He moves it infield, now with Lee Hansen. Big burly Tongan prop. Now Tim Street. He gets the ball, he slips his way a lovely pass. And it's now with Mann, Leigh is spreading it. Good ball handling skills there. Superb play by Leigh. They gain 15-20 metres, and now it's Street. But he loses possession, does he? Oh no, he keeps it going. I thought the ball had come out in the tackle, but it had, but it's come to a Leigh player. Last tackle of this set, and a drop goal attempt there. And that's gone between the sticks. So Leigh with the first points on the board after 15 minutes. Andy Ruane with the drop goal. To 1 the score. We know it's the old adage, if you're down at the opposition's end and it's on the 6th tattle, see if you can pop one over. They have done. 8-1 the score. And Rapati will get play underway. A deep kick right into the bottom corner. Leigh run it out. The Saints meet them. Gus O'Donnell and John Griffiths limbering up on the touchline just below us. As I've said previously, in other matches the substitutes will be warmed up at regular intervals, especially with this cold weather, just in case they're needed to come on urgently. So it's Leigh bringing it left. Tim Street. He's the man that'll have to be stopped. He's the ball playing prop. He'll have to be stopped to man and ball. The tackles I'll have to be firm. Well, Ruane tried to get it away, but Bernard Dwyer was there on hand. Now it's with Chris Joint. Support from the Saints. Harrison has it. Back to Bernard Dwyer. So, David Ruane losing possession. Bernard Dwyer capitalised on it now. And the Saints just bringing it forward with Phil Beavers. Just hauled down by Street. Dwyer out to George Mann, he drives it straight. Leigh urged to get back on side, and let's hope the referee keeps them back the full 10 metres. Cooper moves it left. Rapati. Good ball to Laughlin. Superb ball. Over to Hunt. Hunt's in at the corner. Play by the Saints, and that coming from broken play by the Leigh side. It was the centre, David Ruane, that lost possession. He tried to spread it, tried a bit of fancy work, Bernard Dwyer had it, then it was fed inside, and the Saints moved it out. Beavers drove well, broke the tackle, just brought down, and then the ball moved over to the left, and Loughlin coming through at pace. A lovely overhead ball to Alan Hunt, and he dove in at the corner. Hunt, the leading try scorer, now with 18. It's 12 points to 1 the score. And let's hope the Saints can keep the points machine going this evening and put pressure on Wigan at the top of the Stones Bitter League table. The Loughlin attempted conversion waved away. Always difficult from the touchline, but Paul has popped some good ones over, hasn't he? But 12 points to 1 the score. 19 minutes of the half gone. Saints with a few injury problems. Jared McCracken out with a hamstring injury. Tony Sullivan out with a leg injury sustained playing for Wales. Riley out with a back injury. John Neal, ankle problems. And Kevin Ward, as I said before, the second match of a 2-match ban. George Mann inside to Cooper. Rapati now. Saints carving big holes in this Leigh defence. Beavers coming through again. Good ball to Nickel. But excellent tackling there. Leigh moving in. Donahue and David Ruane doing a bit of mauling. And Donahue coming in on Beavers and tried to trip him up. But Rapati looking for that half gap. Leigh urged to get back onside, but cabbage in a bit. Harrison, Cooper, good play. Cooper in a big hole, looking for support. Connolly coming through. He chipped it for the corner, and it has to be chipped into touch. Solid tackling by Leigh on Gary Connolly, but David Hill had to play safe, knock it into touch, but it's pressure now from the Saints. They're going to hopefully get the feed from this scrum. It's Cooper to feed, and with 6 tackles and 10 metres from the Leigh line, Cooper gets ball possession, out to Rapati, long cut-out ball to Loughlin. Connolly's there. Solid Leigh tackling. Scott Mann doing a bit of mauling from the full-back position. Saints move it left. Chris Joint again, drives on. Strong lad this. Excellent buy from the Oldham club. But he's taken a knock. Cooper, Rapati, on to Loughlin, out to Quirk. Oh, superb effort. Les Quirk in at the corner. But it's this man Loughlin again, creating havoc in this Leigh defence. Les Quirk's, where are we now? 6th try of the season, I'm sorry about that. 6th try for Les Quirk, and he's scored some good ones for the Saints, hasn't he? Obviously not first choice Les, but I'm a big Les Quirk fan. He always has heart and soul for the Saints. Signed in about 1987 he came here for the Saints. And both Les Quirk and John Neal, I think they made the debut match against Halifax, if I'm not mistaken. With Paul Loughlin, difficult conversion attempts, as you can see, only a yard in from touch. But waved away there, nowhere near, unfortunately. But 16 points to 1 the score after 22 minutes. And the Saints now hoping to pile the points on, obviously. They'll go 2 points clear at the top of the table. But Wigan, as I said before, will have a game in hand, and Wigan losing 3 now. They lost to Hull, they lost to the Saints on the 27th of December, and funnily enough, they lost away again last night. People thought I wouldn't give them a mention, as if I'd usually mention anything about the Pie Eaters. Well, they went down to Warrington at Central Park by 11 points to 4 last night. Tim Street there being, well, it's the captain Street, but it's the second row there. Andy Collier that's been spoken to for a high tackle, a penalty to the Saints. But as we said, Wigan going down at home, 11 points to 4 to Warrington. 2 goals they scored, didn't even score a try. So excellent play by Warrington there, and the second league defeat on the trot for the old Pie Eaters. All these commentators, well, apart from myself, they keep saying about Wigan having 8 out injured and having all these teenagers in. But George Mann there into a big hole, Rapati inside, it's off the Wigan player, Beavers is following it up, but Rapati touches down, and that's a try. That's a superb try there by the Saints. Rapati registers the Saints' 4th try of the evening after 24 minutes. But superb break there by George Mann. Carved a big hole in this Leigh defence. Moved it through. It was fed inside. It touched the Leigh man on the way to Phil Beavers. Beavers chipped it forward and lost his footing. And then Rapati was following up as well, and he touched it down. And a superb score by the Saints, with Rapati's 15th try of the season. 20 points to 1 the score, and Paul Loughlin should pop this one over, shouldn't he? Famous last words. About 12 metres out and 10 metres to the right of the sticks. Looking for his second success of the evening. Yes, there it goes. Looking for his third success, I beg your pardon, of the evening. 22 points to 1. Now the score, with that Paul Loughlin conversion, 25 minutes gone. And Saints well on the way to giving Leigh a good thrashing. Something we owe them for that defeat they inflicted on the Saints at Tilton Park. And that was Leigh's first points of the season. Since then they drew with Leeds, they drew with Warrington, and they beat a strike-ridden OKR outfit. And that gave them their 6 points. They're languishing in 14th position. And the Saints are up at the top there with 20 points, only in second position on the points average before tonight. But Saints will be 2 points clear, and certainly a force to be reckoned with. As we just done about the Wiganers before George Mann broke through, not about these teenagers that's playing for Wigan, but they've all had first team experience, perhaps apart from that Aitchison that was on the wing. But they're always keen to defend Wigan. Well, they're the super team, aren't they? The Saints chip it through, Mann comes through with it. Wigan are so cocky, they're sending a team to the sevens down under, and also fulfilling the league fixtures. Saints penalised there, that's Leigh's first penalty, I make it, after 26 minutes, just over 26 minutes, for pulling the man's leg, but they don't find touch, and they can't afford mistakes like this as David Lyon comes through. And if you watch David Lyon on Sky Sports the other night on the Boots and All on Monday, he doesn't half speak well, does David, and a great ambassador for the Saints club. When he joined Saints at the beginning of this season, missed a lot of matches through hamstring injury, but he's back in the full-back position now and playing well for the Saints. We know what he can do, and he's been putting it together. Rapati, cut out past George Mann, short ball to Connolly, inside ball to Loughlin. Oh, superb drive from Loughlin. See Rapati backing up, but he couldn't take it cleanly. But the referee looks as though he's feeling for his pocket somewhere. Well, a Leigh man's going to be spoken to. It's going to be a penalty to the Saints. It's Tim Street that's been brought out. Obviously I was following, well, he's got the yellow card, he's got 10 minutes sin bin. I was following the action. Just a few words of encouragement for Tim Street from the popular side faithful. He's a tough competitor, this lad. Once on the Wigan boots, and again a spell with Oldham, and now he's here with Leigh. He is the Leigh captain. He should know better, but he is a tough competitor. He gets stuck in, but he's given the penalty away, and Paul Loughlin looking for his fourth of the evening. To put another nail in the Leigh coffin. So Loughlin now 10 metres out, just to the left of the posts. Strikes it well. It goes between the uprights. And with nearly 29 minutes on the clock, Paul Loughlin pops it between the sticks. The penalty conversion to the Tim Street indiscretion. Loughlin's fourth goal, and it's 24 points to 1 now, with 11 minutes of the half remaining. Leigh, one of the seesaw clubs, we can say, in this first division, up and down. They were promoted at the end of last season with Sheffield, and Sheffield are not bad. They're up there in the top 8. And Leigh, as we said before, they're at the bottom. They kick the ball off, it bounces before going into touch. It's a scrum with a Saints feed. Saints come away with it, Rapati back to Cooper. Lovely looping there. And here's Loughlin again. Driving it down, still stood in the tackle. Gets it away to Dwyer. Oh, crisp handling by the Saints. Connolly powers it downfield. 50-yard break by the Saints. Beavers back to George Mann. On to Cooper. He's always heard about Cooper, isn't he? David Lyon in the line. Sidesteps in field. Now Rapati. Oh, Lyon's there. Oh, inside ball to Les Quirk. Can Quirk squeeze in? Oh, he's brought down. Inches short. Been awarded a penalty for Leigh pushing off, and they take a quick tap. They move it left. Rapati, Loughlin, Hunt. Is he in? The referee's pointed. He's in for his second. Good play there from the Saints again. Driving to touchdown under the sticks. As he tried to get up and play the ball, he was pushed off. Saints took a quick tap, moved it over to the left. Good ball handling there, right across. And Paul Loughlin feeding Alan Hunt again for his second try of the evening. Then another 4 points to the Saints. Saints fifth try, 28 points to 1 the score, and Paul Loughlin looking to add the extras on, but difficult kicks he's had from the tries this evening. As you can see, not much room to manoeuvre. Is that better? No, waved away by the touch judges. 28 points to 1 with 8 minutes of the half remaining. And tonight's match day mascot there, Christopher Dillon, he'll be pleased with the Saints this evening. He's a regular here at the Saints. I know his dad Brian. It's a good while since Brian missed a match. But they'll be pleased with this evening's performance. And the Saints, they're hitting a rich vein of form. As they've said on the match reports, that they were just eager to get the witness match played, especially after giving Wigan a trouncing. George Mann, good ball to Rapati. Loughlin again, into a big hole. Good ball to Connolly, out to Quirk. Oh, Quirk still going in, and Quirk's in. Oh, a superb effort by Les Quirk. Finished by Quirk. Loughlin comes through on a lovely ball, and he strode through the gap. A pinpoint precision pass to Les Quirk, and he went over in the corner. The crowd erupts. Quirk in for his second. And the floodgates are opening. And this is what these teams should be doing to lead the bottom of the table. They should be pummeling them into the ground. As I said at Tilton Park, this match should have been a banker, but Saints paid the penalty. But as I said before, in the match warm-up, Leigh, they're probably not used to playing on a decent surface, and a superb playing pitch we have here at Nosey Road. A credit to Eric Edwards and his ground staff. Paul Loughlin now, looking to tag the extras on. Yes, so lovely. Well adjusted by Paul. (34-1) the score. Tries, 5 goals, 34 points against a solitary Andy Ruane drop goal in the 15th minute, and still more points to come, eh? Leigh kick off. Sonny Nicholl takes it well. David Ruane, one of the tacklers there, along with second row Johnny Elias, one of 2 Australians in the league outfit. Johnny Elias and Scott Mann. Dwyer attacks it half. On to Beavers. Inside ball to Harrison. Slips the ball away. Tidied up by Connolly. Now it's George Mann. George Mann had a brief spell with Leigh before he signed for the Saints. And Leigh pressing up, moving up, trying to take Saints off the game. But Cooper there leading by example. Well, the referee ruling crossing there. I don't know where he comes up with that one. He's ruled that the Saints had ruled a crossing movement. I think he's got that wrong. There was no crossing there. But Leigh have been awarded their second penalty of the evening. And they fine touch just inside the Saints 20-metre area. Solid tackling by the Saints. They've got to keep this line intact. Leigh was just well, that was a forward pass anyway, but he couldn't take it, and Saints capitalise on it. Loughlin again, he's had a stormer so far, Paul Loughlin, hasn't he? He's kicked 5 goals, and he must have been involved in nearly all the tries. He's certainly getting stuck in. Been out for 6 months with that arm injury, but here we go again, Rapati, on to Chris Joint, looking for support. Keeper's there, and they're backing up, superb, isn't it? Dwyer bringing blindside, Chris Joint. He has to take the tackle. Leigh obviously down to 12 men with that Tim Street sim binning. What, about 2 minutes at the most before he's due back on the field. But Saints have capitalised there, and they're breaking again. Connolly, well, inside ball. Leigh have it. An adventurous pass by Gary Connolly, turned it back inside. But the Leigh man was there. They have possession. Scott Mann it is, 3 minutes before the interval. And Leigh on the wrong end of a 34 points to 1 scoreline. Pugsley, inside ball. Superb tackle by Joint and George Mann. Andy Collier coming through at pace there, but he was well taken down. Now it's Ruane, Andy Ruane, both these Ruane brothers. I don't know whether they had a spell with Rochdale, but they certainly came from Widnes. And Jason Donoghue chips it, but Cooper gives him the run around, feeds it to David Lyon, and Lyon moves it over to the Alan Hunt wing. Both Hunt and Quirk looking for hat-tricks. And there's plenty of time, isn't there, to make sure that they get them as well. Now with Gary Connolly leading the Leigh defence, and there he does. Connolly's on his way. Support from Nicholl. Oh yes, that's a super try by Nicholl. But Connolly there, brilliant work from this man. Not much room to move. but he outpaced the lead defence. Right on the touchline. Sonny Nickel backing up infield. He took it well. He rounded his man. He touched down for the 7th try of the evening. And brings the score to 38 points to 1. Excellent play by the Saints. Good running. But Connolly, the class, stamped all over him. Took it well. Very little room to manoeuvre, as I said, but he hurled down this touchline. And Saints were lined up in field. And Nickel touched it down, his 9th try of the season, and he's receiving the plaudits of the popular side faithful here. The champ, Sonny, and he's really hitting form now. Paul Loughlin looking to convert this one on. 10 metres in, 20 odd metres out. That's a rasper, isn't it? Right between the uprights. 40 points to 1. Second game in succession that the Saints register 40 points. And a good win tonight. Obviously it's going to do the points difference. Total no harm, is it? 40 points to 1, and they may have to go on another sheet of paper if the Saints keep up this scoring. Moving quickly to the left. Have we time to squeeze another in before the interval? Beavers taken down in the tackle in the last minute of normal play in this first half. Dwyer on to George Mann. Shrugs the tacklers off. Tim Street back on after his 10 minutes enforced rest. But there's the half-time hooter. A superb performance by the Saints. 7 tries in the first half, and temper's getting a little frayed there. Tim Street, he'll be involved in that, won't he? You can see the steam coming off the players. What an excellent performance. 7 tries. 2 from Alan Hunt, 2 from Les Quirk, 1 from Joint, Rapati and Nickel 2 minutes before the interval, and 6 Paul Loughlin goals. So the Saints well on the way with a 40 points to 1 half-time lead. Join us shortly for more pulsating action. It's a league clash. Saints in the lead by 40 points to 1. Before we get underway, there's some fixture changes after tonight, with no match till a week on Sunday when we go to Hull KR, and then the following Friday the Saints are at home on the Sky, in front of the Sky cameras against Halifax. So that's home on Friday the 22nd of January. The Castleford home match now is on Wednesday the 3rd of February, and the Widnes away match from New Year's Day rescheduled for the 17th of February. And also don't forget to get your try tape, the best of the Saints tries, well over 100 tries from last season, with completely unbiased commentary. And also the Wigan match, the last weekend, the Christmas fixture, the Wigan match, 41 points to 6, where the Saints completely outplayed the league champions Wigan. So that's one. Another one there, another collector's item from the Saints video collection. So Leigh to get us underway on the wrong end of a 40 points to 1 scoreline. As we said before, Warrington doing the Saints a favour, beating the old pie eaters last night, and it's not so often that Warrington do us a favour, is it? And at the end of the game tonight, it's clear leaders of the Stones Bitter Championship. 2 points clear of Wigan, but Wigan do have a game in hand. Bernard Dwyer inside to George Mann. Shrugs the tackles off. Scott Mann takes it from the chip through. Sonny Nickel and Shane Cooper leading the charge. Mike McLennan would still be G'ing his side up at half-time, even though they are in that mammoth lead. And Steve Sims, the new Australian league coach, he'll have to try and motivate his side. Obviously not always possible when you're on the end of a good whacking. Leigh chip it. David Lyon well positioned. Feeds it out to Cooper. On to Paul Loughlin. Has to take the tackle. Loughlin's been devastating in this first half. Scott Martin there just bringing him down. But now it's Alan Hunt. Oh, that was a little high, wasn't it? As Alan Hunt goes down and he's not in a well condition. He took a high tackle off Scott Martin in the first half early on. But this Leigh man, I think he could be taking the early bath. He's been spoken to by referee Gilmore, but he's been waved away, and Alan Hunt hasn't even looked at the Hunt injury. Johnny Lyers, but the referee let him play go on, and that's not right, surely. But Hunt gets up now. Sits with the first penalty of the second half. Tira Passy on the dummy run. John Harrison takes it up, and Tim Street there with a superb forearm smash on Harrison. George Mann taking the ball up. Johnny Lyers, the perpetrator of that high tackle on Hunt. Cooper, Rapati, Sonny Nicol. Well, another high tackle there on Nicol. Leigh urged to get back onside. Cooper again. Chris Joyce, good ball to Loughlin, took it well, backed into the defence with the Leigh side moving in quickly. 3 minutes gone of the second half, no further scoring. Rapati chips it through. Beavers chips it again. Connolly going for it, but the Leigh man has possession. And he's just taking his time getting up from the tackle. Well, the ball should be taken away from him and moved away. Referee Gilmore ruling so. Scott Mann, I think it was, just giving his side a little bit of breathing space. But he's up now, he's all right, isn't it? 1 minute pronounced dead, and the next minute back in fighting action. But Leigh have possession. Tim Street. Cooper and Dwyer combine to bring him down. Chris Joyce also in the action there, but Leigh have possession. Last tackle of this sequence. Leigh looking to pepper it downfield. Donahue. Alan Hunt should take it comfortably. He does. Drives at the Leigh defence, but it's loose forward. Baldwin that brings him down. Now Harrison blindside. Good ball to Loughlin. Oh, David Lyon looping onto the wing there, but Loughlin couldn't squeeze it out. Beavers straightens it up. Johnny Lyers, he's one of the tacklers there. Well, the Leigh man there, Hansen. God knows what he's trying to do there, but the man was stopped. Oh, interception there. Leigh are going to go in for a try. And then Connolly's going to stop him. Connolly has him. Oh, superb tackle. Superb tackle by Connolly. Well, held up over the line is the indication, but a superb tackle by Gary Connolly, and that looks all over a try for Leigh. What excellent cover defence, and Connolly's taking the knock. He's injured his ankle, injured his right ankle there. We looked at a try all over Leigh in acres of space, but superb cover defence there. But Leigh have possession from the scrum. With an overlap here. Oh, look at that for a tackle. Kick the bones out of that. Alan Hunt springs his man down. Leigh trying to squeeze it at the corner. Tim Street. He feeds the ball to the left. Andy Ruane has it. Leigh with an injured man, and Page still with Gary Connolly receiving treatment. Now with Elias. Sidesteps, flicks the ball back to Donahue. He's held down short. The last tackle, is it? No. Perhaps Leigh will try something adventurous and maybe go for another drop goal. They move it left. Oh, good tackling again, but the try's given. Well, I thought the man was stopped short, but he just managed to squeeze over, and Leigh registered the first try in the 6th minute of the second half. Baldwin, the loose forward, credited with it. So in their set of 6, after being held up over the line and then winning the scrum, and Leigh managed to squeeze over for their first try of the evening, and Baldwin are credited with it. Gary Connolly is going to be substituted, and it's John Griffiths. Well, John Griffiths with 15 on his back. I did get told that O'Donnell was 15, but John Griffiths with 15 on his back. And the conversion, well, it hits the post and waved away. So after 7 minutes of the second half, it's Saints 40, Leigh 5. Gary Connolly is going to be replaced. They want Connolly to come off. He doesn't look as though he wants to, but here he comes. Well, there's one thing we can tell Gary's dad, Frank, mine host at the Black Horse at Mossbank. I shouldn't get him mixed up with David Lyon now, should I, Frank? Seeing he's in the dugout. Oh, excellent play there by the Saints. Chip it off. About 12 yards, and Dwyer follows it up. Saints spread it quickly. Beavers, Laughlin. Alan Hunt takes it well. Receiving a little bit of roughing up there. Johnny Lyers, I think he's in at the tackle. Rapati misses out George Mann. It's on to Sonny Nickel. Griffiths, first touch. The ball back to Rapati, and the Saints are throwing it about. John Griffiths, he's been out with a sprung shoulder. And unfortunately, over the Christmas period, sadly, John's mother died. But he's back in the side now. Leigh intercepting the ball, and it's Scott Martin that has possession now. Tim Street. He gets the ball away. Leigh just managed to hold it. It's turned in field. Tim Street has it now. About 12 metres short. 22 metres short, I should say. And Scott Mann driving for the line, but Lyon upends him. The Saints just losing the way a little bit, and Donahue, well, a forward pass there, surely. The ball going dead, but the knock-on indicated. And Leigh making a substitution with John Costello. He's coming on for Johnny Lyers. But the pass was forward. The scrum down. It should be a Saints feed. Yes, Cooper is going to feed. The referee not happy with the scrum formation. Leigh not yet able to make the substitution, but Saints come away with scrum possession. Rapati looking for support. Cooper's there again. And being roughed up. Yes, high set. Well, crossing indicating again. I don't know where he's coming up with this, Gilmore. But Donahue, I think it is, and Shane Cooper sparring up. But Cooper took a vicious head-high tackle there. And the referee didn't pick it up, but he penalised the Saints for crossing. I don't know where he came up with that one. Well, Leigh going to make the substitution now. Elias coming off and Costello going on. And Leigh, well, play the quick tap. Costello on, Elias off. Tim Street driving for the line. Leigh have registered the only points of the second half with a Baldwin try. And Leigh are trying again, pressing. on the Saints line. They move it left. Well, that's a crossing movement there. That's obstruction, and the referee there, he's not interested, is he? But the Saints force the man back in the tackle, but to get the ball away, Leigh is spreading it. The ball's loose. John Griffiths has it, and the referee has blown up for a knock-on. Saints came up with possession. Surely advantage should have been played, but it's going to be a scrum down with the Saints speed. Cooper feeds it. Saints have possession, but the referee there, he penalises Leigh for not packing correctly. Tim Street asked the question, but the penalty had been given, and David Lyon gets good yardage for the Saints. 10 metres short of the halfway line. He finds touch on the main stand side, and that was John Harrison. He brought down just short of the halfway. Rapati, good ball there. George Mann, Beavers, backing up from Lyon. He gets it away to Alan Hunt. Hunt gives the dummy, saw the gap, he drove for it. And a little bit of jiggery-pokery in the tackle there. But the referee and the touch judge, they're not having anything to do with it. Sonny Nicol, he's on. And Costello is in at the tackle. Tim Street as well, doing a bit of mauling. Well, he's had 10 minutes in the bin as Street. John Harrison, good play, takes the ball up, gains valuable yardage. Saints in possession, bringing it left. Rapati into the gap. George Mann backing up now. Last tackle of this set, Griffiths at dummy half. He loops round with Cooper. Griffiths out there to Joint. Joint, is he in? He is. The referee points, and Joint goes in for his second try right under the stick. Right between the sticks there. Chris Joint in for the Saints. 8th try of the evening, and right under the bar there. And with this Loughlin conversion, it'll make it 46 points to 5. But good play from the Saints there on the 6th tackle. Griffiths took it, gave it to Shane Cooper, he looped round. Chris Joint came on, and he's a superb athlete, is this Joint. Only a youngster, only about 20 years of age, and his superb strength took him over again. Loughlin's 7th goal of the evening. 46 points to 5 now is the score. And a good performance from the Saints. I think there was about, I don't know, it was around about 24 points, the points difference is for and against Wigan. But Saints piling the points on, and it's Griffiths again coming away. Injured his shoulder, put his shoulder out in a brave try-scoring move just before Christmas. But high tackling again there. Andy Collier and Simon Baldwin in, and the referee's not having none, is he? Cooper, good ball to Beavers. Drives into the defence, does Beavers. Pushes Donoghue out of the way. Rapati. Tidied up by Quirk. Oh, excellent from Quirk there. Sleight of hand, and he drives through again. He's not the quickest from a standing start, he's Les Quirk, but he's certainly strong. And he's in with what, 10 or 15 yards short of the line, in with a sniff. He's going to score, but loose play by the Saints. Sonny Nicol chips it through. The tackle count back to 1 now as Tim Street gets the ball away, spreads it. Leigh looking to create a little bit of havoc in the Saints defence. They did score first in the 6th minute of this second half. Well, they've not done much since. There's Baldwin, he's lost the ball. Is it Dwyer? Yes, Dwyer tidies it up. Nicol on to Cooper. Now Beavers, good ball to Griffiths. Well knocked on is the referee's decision. As Leigh looked to make another substitution. David Hill looking to be brought off, and the substitute, David Tanner, the ex-Saints full-back. But Baldwin breaking through, gives the ball there, which was a mile forward to the Leigh wingman, David Hill, the man that was going to be substituted. I think it's Hill, but Leigh registered the second try. Quick play, good play from the base of the scrum for Leigh. I think it's David Hill that's gone in for the try. It is. But the final pass there from Baldwin to Hill, certainly a yard forward. Obviously the Saints coach, Mike McLennan, he'd be correcting me on that with his... I said it was a mile, and Mike said he'd go for a conservative 18 inches. Well, I think that must have been a conservative 18 inches, wasn't it, Mike? Well, the try is on the board, and Baldwin looking to convert it. The substitution has taken place. David Hill, the try scorer, and there didn't look much wrong with him, did there? But David Tanner's been brought on. Scott Mann will probably go into the three quarters. David Tanner at full-back. 46 points to 9, with 23 minutes of the game remaining. The Hill try there, unconverted by Baldwin. After the Saints losing the way midfield, and the scrum on the far side, and Leigh capitalised on it, broke quickly. He caught the Saints on the hop on the blind side. Handed away from acting half. Forced back there. Chris Joint forces his man back. Now it's Leigh Hansen making yardage. Well, the referee in again for something he's seen in the tackle. Reaping the ball back, I think, is the indication this time. Hasn't had a bad game in the first half, but, well, a bad kick from Leigh there. The referee hasn't had a bad game in the first half, but he's come up with some funny decisions in the second half. David Lyon coming cross-field, putting Loughlin into a big hole. Alan Hunt gets the return pass. He gets it away to Chris Joint. Joint straightens up. Good handling from the Saints as Costello completes the tackle. Now with George Mann. Costello in again. Solid tackling. Well, lying on there as George Mann wanted to get up. Two men coming in, lying all over George. Now it's Harrison. Three-man Leigh tackling, brings him to grass. But the game just losing a little bit of its edge in this second half. We've had nearly 20 minutes. The Saints keep the ball going. Cooper beats Street's tackle. Well, he doesn't. I thought he'd just got away from him. Two captains together. But Street clearly offside. John Harrison feeds it out. George Mann, well, was knocked forward. A double knock on there. But I think it's he's given a double knock on. I think it's going to be a Leigh feed. It's a scrum down there, yes, he's given the Leigh feed. Tirapati penalised for questioning the referee's decision. A rare indiscretion from Tier. But Leigh gained further yardage and restart from the halfway line, 10 metres in. Leigh Hansen shoulders charges into George Mann, Bernard Dwyer, and they finally bring him to a halt. Leigh have possession. Sonny Nicholl and Chris Joint there tirelessly tackling this Leigh outfit. They're running hard. Tim Street is taken down the man and ball. Dwyer around the top, and John Harrison round the legs. Pugsley tries a little chip, but well taken by Cooper. Read it well, did Shane Cooper. He's forced over on the far side. But Les Quirk trying to come away, but the leigh defence comes in. Regains 5 yards as Les. Now it's with Phil Beavers. Well, over the top. The referee wasn't looking, and that's what they call the flopper now. The man was stopped, and a third man came in. Well, Marlin had to play the ball, and the ball being reaped out by Tim Street. And if he's not careful, he's either going to get another 10 minutes in the sin bin, or he's going to go down for the early bath. Saints fine touch, 10 metres inside the leigh half. George Mann, he drives up. Leigh scoring 2 tries to 1 in this second half against the Saints. But Chris Joint shrugging the tackles off, looking to release the ball, but he's finally held. Saints moving it crossfield. Good ball from John Griffiths. Excellent play from this excellent Nestle half-back. Cooper, good ball there to Alan Hunt, into space. Still driving forward is Alan Hunt, pumping those legs, looking for his hat-trick. Beavers turns onto Nickel. Let's see what Nickel can do. He's going, yes. Oh, look at that. Superb Nickel in for his second of the evening. Nickel in for his second of the evening. Saints' 9th try of the evening. And 50 points to 9 the score, with Loughlin's conversion to come. Ball Loughlin from right between the sticks, 10 metres from the posts. This will be his 8th when he pops it over. And Gus O'Donnell looking to be introduced for the last 17 minutes or so. Loughlin converts it. Loughlin, yes, Loughlin pops it over. And Gus O'Donnell being brought on for Shane Cooper. A well-earned rest for Shane Cooper, Saints captain. Obviously the game's won, 52 points to 9, and Cooper having a well-earned rest. He gets through some grafters, Cooper, there's no danger about this, and he's obviously in line for the coaching job here at Nosey Road. When Mike McLennan, he said he's definitely going home at the end of this season, and he's definitely brought a new dimension to the Saints club. It took the Saints public quite a bit of time to warm to this New Zealand coach. But here's O'Donnell with his first touch. And Tim Street doing a bit of mauling. Being penalised, and professional foul again. We've seen these people being sent off for this. For 10 minutes in the bin. He's already had 10 minutes. Saints gain valuable yardage. Bernard Dwyer restarts. Big John Harrison leading the charge again. Harrison drives it up, and the Saints are forced to be reckoned with, aren't they? And what happens when all the players are fit? It must be a coach's nightmare, mustn't it? A selection problem, but it's a nice one to have, isn't it? O'Donnell. He drives it up. Elias looking to be introduced back into the game. Rapati, short ball to Griffith. Well, I thought it was a short ball to Griffith. It was chipped through. I went into touch, and scrum down now with the leigh feed over in that bottom left-hand corner as we're looking at you, the corner of the Eddington and the main stand side. And Andy Ruane looking to be brought off, and Johnny Elias to come back on. Leigh have scrum possession. They're driving it up. They're just outside their own 20-metre area. The ball turned back in field, but not a lot of atmosphere this evening now, as we're 14 minutes from the final hooter. 52 points to 9. Saints are in the lead after leading 40 points to 1 at half-time. Scott Mann releasing it to Street. Leigh keeping it moving. Now with the loose forward Baldwin. And Street and Hunt just tangling there. Leigh chip it through and hack it again. David Lyon will tidy it up. Gives the ball to Les Quirk. And Quirk, is he on his way again? Is it a Les Quirk special? He pushes the defence off. He's held, but he gains a valuable 40 metres. Along the line, the Saints spread it. Joint straightens it up. It's back to George Mann, but he can't take it. Chris Joint put it back, a back pass, and Leigh come up with possession. Lee Hansen, his big tongue and prop. Well, he's tried to cod the referee, and successfully did it, but it looked as though he was hold of Chris Joint there and playing for the penalty. The substitution is allowed to be made now. David Ruane finds touch 30 metres from the Saints line. Elias coming on, and Saints penalised for offside, but the pass there from Elias clearly forward, but referee Gilmore, that's what we've got to call him, referee. He's supposed to be the impartial arbiter in the middle. Obviously we can question this, can't we? But it's Leigh now, 10 metres from the Saints line. Andy Collier leading the assault on the Saints line, but he's knocked it forward. Superb tackling there, Chris Joint, Bernard Dwyer, Sonny Nickel involved, and the tackle on Collier so firm that it shakes the ball from his hands. Come down, Saints feed, Gus O'Donnell brings it blindside. Now it's Loughlin. Good ball to Alan Hunt. Sidesteps inside, but Pugsley, he went in with a knee there, did Pugsley? Clearly kneed Alan Hunt in the face, and that man should go for the early bath. That's downright thuggery, that dirty play. And he's gone in with a knee, and referee Gilmore, he's only speaking to him, and he's only penalised him, and that's a disgraceful decision. Well, the popular side faithful just airing the views on the sexual prowess of referee Gilmore. But, the ball reaped out of his hand there, John Harrison's hand, but the referee just losing a little bit of control. First half, he had a good half, but the second half he's been a little more than sociable. But it's Street. He plays it, Elias at dummy half. Andy Collier taken down again, but he manages to release the ball to David Ruane. The ball spread again, and Donohue's lost it. He's knocked it forward. Scrum down with the Saints speed. Superb tackle by Beavers on Donohue. An excellent performance from the Saints with 10 minutes to go. 52 points to 9 as Leigh push, but Gus O'Donnell comes away with it. Gets the ball to Loughlin. Over the top to Hunt. Oh, there's no catch Hunt. It spins his head back, and he goes in for the try. Superb try by the Saints. it was good work there from Gus O'Donnell. After Leigh was pushing hard in the scrum, O'Donnell under a little bit of pressure to take the ball from the back of the scrum. He managed to get the ball away under a lot of pressure from the Leigh defence. He slipped it away to Laughlin. A superb overhead pass to Hunt. Hunt pinned his ears back. He powered his way into the corner. There was no stopping Alan Hunt, was there?